Greetings, everybody, and welcome to Zimbabwe Daily. My name is YVONNE Muchaka, and this is Frank Talk with YVONNE. And in this particular episode, we are looking at young women and politics. Do we have a say? A lot has been happening on our political landscape. We have seen young leaders in the MDC Alliance, in particular, Joanna Mamombe, Cecilia Chimbiri, and Netai Maroa, being arraigned before the courts on different allegations being leveled against them. We had, in 2020, Joanna Mamombe and Cecilia Chimbiri, Joanna, Cecilia, and Netai, they are alleged to have been abducted, and when they were found, they were arrested on allegations of faking their abductions, and so they have got a routine remand that they've been appearing in court over the last year, and have had multiple arrests along the way on different charges, including addressing a press conference for which Joanna Mamombe and Cecilia Chimbiri are incarcerated, as it were, today. So as we commemorate the Women's Month of March, we thought we should have a conversation around how safe it is and how young women can participate in politics in our country. And, do we really have a say in the political landscape of the country? So to help me unpack this conversation, I have a couple of ladies. I'm going to ask them to introduce themselves. Most are going to be on voice, but all the same, I'm sure that the conversation that we're going to have is going to be worthwhile. I'll start with you, Nico. May you kindly introduce yourself?
Good morning, viewers and listeners. My Nico, thank you for having me.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Nico, for joining me. I also have Nancy. Nancy, can you say hi to the people of Zimbabwe? All right, we seem to be having challenges connecting with Nancy there. Councillor Kudzi, please introduce yourself, ma'am.
Yes, good morning. My name is Councillor Kudzai Kadzombe. I'm the spokeswoman for the MDC Alliance Harare Women's Assembly.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us, Councillor Kudzi. We could not have Batanai. Batanai is the programs manager from the Women's Academy of Leadership and Political Excellence. She couldn't join us because she just had an emergency with her child who has asthma, so she says, so she's not able to join us. Nancy, can you hear us now? Can you please introduce yourself to the people of Zimbabwe? Nancy, you're on mute. Can you unmute your device and talk to us? Nancy, you're on mute. Kindly unmute yourself and greet the people. Nancy, are you there? Okay, I think you may need to take out your video, Nancy, so that at least we can hear your audio. I cannot unmute you on this side because you've muted yourself on the other side. Can you unmute your device? All right. I think we will have this conversation as we wait for Nancy to keep trying, working on her. As she keeps trying, working on her device, let's try to see if she can hear me on WhatsApp. I'll try to call her on WhatsApp and hopefully see if we can. All right. So, anyways, let's have this conversation. Let's have this conversation. I'll have my Nico and Councillor Kadzombe on the line as we try to wait for the others to join us this morning. So, nyaya iri mudariro ndeyekuti young women generally have been affected by some of the policies or the political system that is currently available that does not favor dissent. If you speak anything against the government or you are standing seemingly against the government, you are a threat, and so violence is meted against you. You are arrested, or the environment is just not conducive for young women to participate in politics. So we wanted to hear from WALPE the programs that they are doing, because they do political and leadership education. But all the same, hopefully another member from WALPE will be able to join us in place for Batanai, who is the programs manager there. But Councillor Kadzombe, I'll come to you. You are a member of the MDC Alliance, from which Joanna, Cecilia, and Netai hail from. Now, as young women, how is the political landscape as young women in opposition? Councillor Kadzombe, you're on mute.
Sorry.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Yvonne.
Right.
I don't know, there's an echo. Is there something we can do about that?
Is the echo still there?
Hello? Yeah, it is.
Okay, because from this end, I'm not hearing an echo.
Okay. So I'll just go ahead. It's okay.
Okay.
Well, basically, the landscape for any woman in politics is a very difficult one, because we're in a patriarch society. So it actually needs, can I try and reconnect again?
Okay, it's fine.
Because it's repeating everything I'm saying, so.
Okay, it's fine. It's fine. You can,
Okay, let me.
All right. Hello, Varaizo. Varaizo, welcome to Zimbabwe Daily. You're live. Varaizo is standing in for Batanai. Batanai is with the Women's Academy for Excellence, the Gender and Membership Officer. Varaizo, can you hear me?
Hello?
Hello, Councillor Kadzombe, you're back. How is your sound now?
It's still there, so I don't know. Yeah, what will happen? Because then it disturbs my thoughts as I'm speaking. There's a voiceover of what I've just said in slow motion.
Okay, maybe take out your earphones, because from this end I can hear you clearly. So maybe when you are speaking, you can just go ahead.
Okay, let me. Yeah, that's much better. Thank you. Oh no, it's still there, but I'll try my best.
Okay.
Yeah. So basically, what I was saying is we are in a patriarch society. So for a woman, and especially a young woman, to be in politics, it has to be a calling of some sort. Hello? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. So basically, it actually needs you to actually be a very powerful woman who has had motivation either from fellow women or who's actually very passionate in politics for you to actually venture into politics. But in other countries, you see that people can freely venture into politics and feel safe. But for a Zimbabwean woman in politics, and especially in the opposition, you know that, the moment you venture into politics, you have put your own life in danger. You've put your family's life in danger, and basically anyone that is actually related to you or linked to you. But this is not supposed to be the case. But it's a sad situation that this is the case in Zimbabwe. But as young women, we see that the space is there for us to participate in. Besides the victimization, besides the sexual harassment, besides all the different aspects that actually then affect us in politics, the space is there for us. As a party, we actually have a women's quota, that actually allows women and encourages women to participate in politics. And we've actually got a okay. They'll have to mute their mic.
Sorry, I'm
Is
just
that
trying to
Nancy?
mute. I'm just trying to mute Nancy's mic.
Yeah.
Yes, it's muted now.
Okay. Thank you very much. Because one thing as a woman in politics is you can't expect to be treated differently, to be treated in kids' gloves. So you basically have to kind of man up, which is very unfortunate because, as a woman, you still need to have your own identity, as a woman, So we end up having to act like men so that you are heard, you are felt in the political atmosphere, which is very sad. People will say "Kuti munhu akuita senge murume," and you have to then do that for you to be heard, for your voices to be heard. But this is the way that it is, and I know it will not be something that will happen for a very long time. It's just for us to come off from this stage that we're in, where men view us as lesser beings, and we have to then work 200% more for us to actually be respected in the spheres that we're in. And I'm glad that you mentioned Cecilia and Joanna and Netai, because I think they're the reason why you have then done this program. And these three women at the moment are just not idols and role models in Zimbabwe, but in the whole world. They have shown that they are courageous beyond the numerous victimizations that they have faced as young women. The labeling, it's so easy for men to throw in the prostitute label for any woman in politics. And we have seen certain people calling them this just for the sake, for the reason that they have voiced out that they deserve a better Zimbabwe. They're fighting for the rights of just not even just the women, in the young women, but the youths in general. So this is something that I really would like to applaud them for. Just over the on Monday this week, I actually had an opportunity to go to Kurubi Maximum Prison to visit them, and you could just see by speaking with them that they are not broken, they are not shaken. They were very resolute, they were very jovial. That at the end of the day, us who are actually at home, you actually end up being emotional, but they are strong. And they're going to be heroines in the history of Zimbabwe, and what I think young women should take from that is it should not be a hindrance. What they experience should not be a hindrance to the young women wanting to venture into politics, but it should actually be a motivation, because the more young women that participate, the lesser brutality that young women will face from the regime. So I actually think young women should actually take this as an encouragement to actually join.
Wow. Thank you so much, Councillor, for that, positive perspective on the whole thing that is happening. Indeed, as women, we can't expect to be treated with kids' gloves, especially when it comes to politics. Now, I'm coming to you, my Nico, and, my question is almost the same around women and their participation in politics. Do you think and do you feel as a woman and as a mother that you would allow your daughter to venture into the kind of politics that we see in Zimbabwe today?
Thank you. I think that's for a mother, it's a very difficult question. Considering what, like, Councillor Kudzi said, she's very correct. Society has not yet accepted women in power. This is both for men and women. It always has been viewed as a man's job. So when you have a daughter, I can only imagine what Cecilia's mom and Netzai's mom and Joanna's mom are going through, to have to watch your daughter go through that, be ridiculed, called all kinds of names. So I think if my daughter said, I want to do this, mom, I'll just say, okay, you can go ahead, and I'll give them their support. But at the moment in Zimbabwe, for women, it's a very tough, very, very tough environment. But women, we can do it. I believe, and I would support. And I'll just say one thing: it's not just in Zimbabwe only. I know, you know, overseas sometimes when women go to cover rallies in countries like America, sometimes they are called all kinds of names. So it's tough everywhere, but I think it's tougher in Zimbabwe.
Right. Right. Thank you so much for that contribution, my Nico. It is tougher elsewhere for women to just be in politics. Varaizo, thank you so much for joining us. May you kindly introduce yourself and the work that you're doing at WALPE in terms of assisting women get into leadership positions. Varaizo, can you hear me? Varaizo?
Hello.
Yes, may you kindly
Hello, I can
introduce
hear you.
yourself? Awesome. Please
Okay.
introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about the work that you guys are doing at WALPE.
Okay, thank you. My name is Varaizo Jo. I'm the Gen and Membership Officer for WALPE. At WALPE, we're capacitating and training women to take up leadership positions. So we work with aspiring women leaders and women that are already in leadership positions, equipping them with skills and tools to successfully run for public office. And
Do you
also,
think,
we've got a component of economic empowerment that we do at WALPE.
awesome, and the trainings that you are doing with the women at WALPE, is it encouraging? Are we getting more numbers of women wanting to take up leadership and, political positions?
I would say the numbers are rising because as we go out there to do trainings and as we come back, we actually have more women registering to participate for public offices and others taking low-level leadership positions in their communities, from being village health committees, being secretaries and chairpersons for WADCOs and VIDCOs, are taking up all leadership positions from the lowest leadership positions to some aspiring to be presidents.
Right. That's awesome. That's actually quite encouraging. Nancy from ZINASU, can you hear me now? Nancy, can you hear me? All right, so we seem to be having problems connecting with the ZINASU leadership. I had a very interesting conversation on my way into town today, and I carried some young ladies in the car, and we were just talking about this particular conversation that I'm having now with the leaders. And the ladies told me that, even at school, we can no longer express ourselves because the system is just so ruthless. And we're not just talking about national governance system, we're talking about college politics. And she was saying that it got to a point where you would be demonstrating maybe against the hikes in fees, and police will be called out on you and you get arrested. And just telling your parents that I've been arrested because I was demonstrating against a hike in school fees sometimes becomes a torrid task. Now, ladies, I'm just throwing this to you. I know, Kudzi, you talked about the political terrain generally for women. Mainiko as well, you hinted on that. And Varaidzo saying that women want to take up the political space. But my question is our environment conducive enough to allow young women to really bud and show their mantle in assisting our nation to move into a much more better space? I know, for Varaizo, you hinted that more women want to take up leadership positions, but is the environment conducive enough to actually get us to see, to get us to see that potential being fully realized? We've lost Councillor Kudzi Kadzombe. Varaidzo, would you want to come through for that?
Okay, thank you. I would say as much as we have more aspiring women leaders or young girls wanting to take up leadership positions, the environment in Zimbabwe is heavily polarized, and there's a lot of online bullying and different gender-based violence that's happening with aspiring leaders or women human rights defenders. So the environment in Zimbabwe is really not conducive. That's why we end up having some people dropping off at last minute because of the horrors that they have to endure every time they think of being in power.
Mainiko, I'll ask you the same question. Is the environment conducive to raise more young women leaders in our country?
I don't think it is. Like you said, when people try to express themselves, they get into trouble with the current government, that is the ZANU-PF government. There, abductions, torture, and so it's not conducive. It's a very, very tough environment at the moment.
Councillor, you already in politics. You're already doing it. You've been a councillor and you were recently recalled. Would you say the environment is conducive for young women to actually bud in politics? Or you have to be part of the system for you to actually do something meaningful?
Yeah, well, I'll just take it from another angle that only us women can make the environment conducive for ourselves by coming out in numbers. It's not conducive because we only have a few women who are currently in politics, but the more women that join politics, the more power that we have, and we can actually then set the tone, set the policies, set the agenda, and make it more conducive for for the future young women who would want to join, because the issue of politics, it's a big boys club. This is why when you see, if you go around and you see, even in the corporate world, you'd see that the women would take up deputy posts, you see. So it seems that they've already set this standard that a woman has to be a deputy of a man in any position that they're in. If it's a presidential position, then the vice president has to be a woman. If it's a mayor, then the deputy has to be a woman. If it's a chairperson, the vice, and so forth and so forth. So the moment we accept as women that we are second-class citizens and we deserve these deputy roles, we're already making the environment not conducive for the other ladies that want to join. So the moment we take up the critical positions, the moment that we don't accept that we need to be invited on the big boys table, as you said, Kuti, you have to be part of the system. The moment you say I'm going to create my own system with my fellow sisters, which is, very different from being a feminist. But you actually say I will create a conducive environment for my fellow sisters to be able to join in our own positions. Let's mentor, the younger women in our communities. So just you've won where if you've got people in your church, if you've got people in your community that are interested in media, take them up, mentor them, show them the ropes. If it's Inini, on a politician, if I've got other young women in the community, let me mentor them and show them the ropes, trying to dispel their fears so that, they feel more comfortable in joining. But I do understand where my Nico is coming from, as a parent. I've got two daughters, and if they had to then say they want to join politics, you are forced to support them. But at the end of the day, you fear for them because you know exactly what they'll be facing. The persecutions that are happening to the trio, to the MDC trio, are not just their own persecution, it's a persecution of their family as well. Every day, right now as we speak, their parents were at the High Court. In the morning, the ruling was deferred to the afternoon. So their whole life is then consumed by their daughter's decision. So it's very unfortunate, but it is what it is. And I don't know if I would still allow my daughter to do it, but I would then educate her and inform her. But my plea is for us to then make that environment more conducive for them to freely, express themselves and join the political environment.
Right. Wow. Right, indeed. We have a lot of young women who have been caught in this web. We've talked about the MDC trio. We have Namatai Kwekweza, just for her standing up and saying, "Why are we amending the constitution before we have fully, implemented its demands?" She has faced persecution. We have got our young men, Makomborera Ruzivisheta Kudzangadzore, who are in the cells because of their conviction. We had Alan Moyo just a couple of weeks ago getting his bail after spending over 2 months inside because he simply said we need to change our systems. And I think the system remains what everyone else is talking about, the need to change the system in order to allow for our girls to participate a little bit more. I want to come to you, Varaidzo. What would you say is the response of young people to calls of, participating in even community politics? What is their response of the younger women, the 18, the 20-year-olds, the 22-year-olds in the trainings that you have been doing? You are on mute, so yeah.
Okay, thank you. The response that we're getting from the younger women, the 18s, the 19s, and the 20s, is that most of the young girls were raised to think that a woman's place is a home. So taking up leadership positions for them is like going against their culture. But as we go through the trainings and explain to them why it is of importance for them to take up these leadership positions, for it is only them that can put up policies and recommendations that will benefit them and their kids, they tend to have a change of mind and see things in a different way, and they are willing to take up leadership position. But the only problem is the fear that comes with the torture of being in politics. That's one thing that can never be ignored.
We have seen, even WALPE leaders like Stabile Dewa getting incarcerated for having attended a particular workshop in the Maldives. Now, I just, when you tell them, to participate, what exactly do you say to them? What is leadership? What is politics, really? Because I think Zimbabweans, we do politics the wrong way. I think we don't really understand what leadership and politics is all about. So maybe Waraizo will just give you a few minutes for you to educate, the rest of the nation on what is politics and what is leadership and what is there a correct way of doing politics?
Yeah, okay, thank you. For us, in our own understanding, is leadership is taking up part in decision-making processes, being part of of a bigger community that makes up decisions that leads to a better future. It's you taking up a step saying, I'll be the one in control of my life and what will happen to the generations to come. And politics, in my view, well, in Zimbabwe, we view politics as something that's really bad. Like if your kid is about to enter into politics, you're thinking, okay, the only result that's going to come out of this is maybe death and maybe bad things only. But from my view, is politics is not all bad. It's actually a good thing, because what we understand is politics is a system of bringing out change, moving from the things that we used to do to a more civilized community where people respect others' decisions, others' rights, and others' well-being. That's the understanding that I have.
Right. And is there a correct way of doing that? Is there a correct way of doing politics?
I would say there is a correct way of doing politics. As long as you are up there in a leadership position and you're thinking of your community and others and not thinking about yourself only. Because I think it's about bringing change that benefits everyone, not change that only benefits you as an individual.
Right. Right. Positive. We're talking positive change. We're talking an ethical kind of leadership where you are aware of what is right, what is wrong. If you do politics for your sake, then you are not cut out to be in politics. But I think generally we've seen this. Councillor Kudzimainiko, we've seen a situation where somebody is in leadership position so that they can get something out of it. They want to keep their cars, they want to have paid trips, they want to have access to resources. Now, how do we deal with this scourge of corruption that has dealt a blow to our national development? How do we train our girls to take up leadership and to take it up ethically?
Hello.
Yes.
Yes. Well, basically, our natural setup as women is we are very unlikely to be corrupt. Women, we have a motherly instinct that is naturally inbuilt, and a natural fear in us. When there's an opportunity for you to be corrupt, your heart actually starts pounding, and then you start thinking of your parents. Do you want to disappoint them? You start thinking of your children, your family. Do you want to disappoint them if you're incarcerated? And this is not the same situation with our fellow compatriots, the men. They know kuti madhiri anoitwa, but as women, it's very rare for you to actually see a woman actually willingly just venturing into corruption. Most of the cases that we've seen of corruption arrests that have happened, you'd see that they were actually linked to directives that would have happened from a male boss, or a male minister, and so forth. So that is the thing, that it's easy for women in leadership to actually train the women that are coming up, not to be corrupt, because they themselves actually distance themselves from corruption.
Right. My Nico, the same question.
Thank you. I do agree with Councillor Kudzi. It's very rare to find women involved in corruption, but you do find them I think this is also has to do with 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 what's happening right now with the current ZANU PF government, which has normalized corruption. And I think just from the beginning, just telling your daughter, just telling uh, the girls that we are training that you are serving the community, and if you are corrupt, you are then stealing from the community that you are serving, that you're trying to serve.
Right.
If you try to cut corners, then you are able to cut corners. What about someone else who is unable to do that? So just from the beginning, whether it's in college, wherever, they were just saying, just trying to make sure that they understand that being a politician is not about wanting to go in there and make money, but wanting to serve the community.
I think those are some of the principles that those who have gone before us have not shown, and those that actually want to show that kind of leadership are not the ones that are in the on the top posts to be able to effect some of these things. Nancy, are you able to hear me right now? Nancy, if you can unmute yourself and engage with us. We really want to know and understand how young women are doing in university and student politics. Nancy? Okay, so Nancy really is not.
Hi, Yvonne.
Hi, Nancy. Yes, welcome. Now we want to know how young women are doing in terms of student activism. Do we have more of you in there?
Okay, the performance of young women and our female students in tertiary institutions is quite low. Like it's drastically low. We have a less than average participation. Recently, in the last SRC elections, we have had only 2 females taking up leadership positions. I really don't understand how, but I think young women lack the confidence, and maybe it's because the political space is patriarchal or male dominated. So it's really pathetic. Yvonne, are you getting me?
Yes, I can hear you. All right. And you spoke about the patriarchal nature of our political terrain, but how then, I know you're the gender rep in ZINASU. Now, what efforts are you making in order to encourage more girls to come to, into politics or leadership position? And what is the response that you're getting from these girls? Oh, ladies.
Okay, we are having gender mainstreaming programs and capacity building programs. So this year, our programs, like, we are moving to every institution, recruiting girls and training them, letting them know of the safety and risks associated with politics, and most importantly, the importance of participating in leadership and governance. So annually, we hold a female student summit. We are in the process of making it this year, making it grand this year, together with other partners, with other like-minded partners. So it's just a matter of
Right.
explaining to people the importance of joining activism, because whatever happens right now, the decisions will always tend to be masculine or patriarchal, because we don't have a voice. We are not represented from institutional level to national level.
Right. So it's not just in politics, but in every other sphere of our social lives. Women's leadership is a bit whittled down because of the nature of our, of our society. And I have Signoro on the line. Mr. Signoro, thank you so much for joining us on Zimbabwe Daily. You are really emphatic. You say you would want to participate in the program, preferably via Messenger. We will definitely open up an opportunity for you, sir, to be able to get hold of us. You say that our culture is exaggerated. It's not what is said. Okay. Today we have brought in other women leaders in the different spheres so that we can get to understand what we are choosing to challenge. What are we choosing to challenge? This is the theme for this year. We say choose to challenge. And we've done this in solidarity with Cecilia Chimbiri, Honorable Joanna Momombe, and Netai Marwa, who are constantly being arraigned before the courts to answer to various charges that have been leveled against them. We're not the courts, we're not there to judge, what the proceeding should be, but the MDC strongly believes that there is persecution by prosecution. Now, I've seen that leader Barbara has joined us. Barbara is the spokeswoman for the MDC Alliance. Barbara, welcome. Barbara, your mic is on mute. Barbara, your microphone is on mute. I cannot unmute you because you chose to mute from that side. Yes. You are muted again. Okay, so we are not able to hear from Barbara because your microphone seems to be on mute. All right, all the same. Ladies, we now need to round off this conversation. In order for Zimbabwe to get to where it needs to be, in order for us to get our young women getting themselves involved in politics, I fear to think what would happen to my daughter if she were to say, I want to get into politics. But knowing the strong-mindedness that she, person that she is, she wouldn't be convinced otherwise should she decide to want to do this. But what would you want to see as a woman? So I'll just do a round with all of you. As a woman, what would you want to see happening in Zimbabwe in terms of giving young women a voice in national governance issues, in politics, in business leadership, in any kind of leadership that young women would be able to take up? What is it that you'd want to see? What kind of system should be in place in order for our girls to take up these positions? I'll start with you, Katsila Kadzombe. You are on mute.
I keep on forgetting the mute. Yeah, sorry. Well, I would basically just want to, see the women quota extended until such a point when we have a conducive environment for women in politics, and especially young women in politics. I know most men say women shouldn't be given opportunities and excuses such as the women's quota. But I think because when politics in the country started, it was all dominated by men. So we need to give them room to be able to, come in their numbers so that you can have a proper, genuine 50-50 representation in all spheres of leadership. At times you see in the corporate world board members, people come in with applications, and the moment that people say no, let's prioritize women who have applied, you hear others saying no. They should not be that kind of special treatment that is done towards women. But I think it's very critical for us to to first come up in numbers and have that 50-50 representation, and then from then on we can now brush shoulders and fight for positions equally, which at the moment it actually isn't. And also just a second thing and last thing is just for us to be able to have a total respect from our male counterparts, because as a woman in politics, women view you as a sex object. So the moment a woman ventures into politics, in a environment maybe that has 20 men, it becomes a competition for those men to actually then see who will be able to, to woo her, and to be
Yeah.
able to, to have sexual relations with her, which is not the point, because now the moment people will start listening to you because they is viewing you as a potential sexual partner. When you're actually genuinely representing your issues that have to do with your community, women, your personal experience, and etc. So that is the other thing that I would really love to see, the Zimbabwean male mindset be changed from it, to actually know that women are equal beings, and women have potential, and women have a say in the future of Zimbabwe, and are not just there for sexual exploitation.
Very powerful point there, Councillor Kadzombe. In every sphere, wherever a woman takes a position, the men want to, they find it like, fodder, for them to, show their prey kind of behavior. They would want to have sexual relations with the woman, not necessarily because they actually don't value the woman folk because of their own, thinking that, it's all about conquest and stuff like that. My Nico, what kind of a Zimbabwe would you want to see conducive for young women to take up leadership positions? Kindly unmute your mic.
Thank you. Yes, that was a very powerful statement from Councillor Kudzi. And I would like to just commend Councillor Kudzi, many other women MPs, Cecilia, Joanna Netai, a lot of women in Zimbabwe who are standing up in this difficult time of politics. These are our heroes, and I think that we should. They are experience what they're experiencing now, and they should, when we decide that we want to, what kind of environment we want, they are in it, they know what's going on, they know what's wrong with it. I think we should support them when they come out and say, listen, this is how it should be, this is how it should be, so that everyone is comfortable, both men and women are comfortable, instead of just making it more comfortable for the men. Also, I'd like to commend you, Councillor Kudzi, and others, that you refuse to take the easy way out and accept money and say, okay, it's much easier for me to accept money and get such and such a position. We know some people have crossed the floors and gone on to be on the other side just because it's easier. You guys are taking the tougher road, and I think you have the front seat of what's happening and what needs to change. And I think we need to support you when you come out and start saying, guys, let's change it this way, we need it this way. So I commend you for that.
Awesome. Thank you so much, my Nico. Varaizo, what kind of Zimbabwe would we want to see being put in place where young people can actually take up leadership position?
Okay, thank you. Firstly, I would want to see a Zimbabwe free of all forms of violence against women. I think
Right.
that's the first step. And also seeing a Zimbabwe that produces equal opportunities for both men and women. And for the women in leadership, I would want to see a 50-50 representation in all leadership positions. That means an alignment of the constitution and of the electoral law, giving women equal chances in leadership positions as men. And also, I would want to see a Zimbabwe whereby women stand up and support each other, so that we all get to a place whereby we're safe and we have everything that we want. That's why we always say that women should always vote for a woman regardless of what their political background is. This concept that says that I'm just a woman should push you to vote for me. I think Zimbabwe would want to see. And in Zimbabwe, we're doing a 2.2 million campaign where we want 2.2 million votes by women for women.
Right.
That's
Is that going to be possible though? One thing that I've noticed is as women, we can't even support it. I mean, I think it's an anathema, for one woman to support the next woman. So it's very difficult. I mean, even now in parliament, we have women who are way older and they will never open the ways for, the younger women. We saw in the 2018 election, for example, a lot of fissures were happening between the older woman and the younger woman. And so it's actually quite interesting that you say 2.2 million women to vote for another woman. I don't know, but I want to get to a point where we see that happening. Nancy, can you hear me? Right.
Yes, Yvonne.
Nancy, can you tell us what would you want to see happening in Zimbabwe in terms of giving young women a voice in national governance issues?
Okay, firstly, I think I need women who are passionate about change, women who are passionate about what they believe in, and who choose to stand up, speak out, and challenge systems, challenge the old age systems. So, for me, I think the women's quota did not do much justice for women empowerment. We have a constitutional provision that guarantees 50-50 participation of both men and women. So I think we have to push for constitutional reforms that allow maybe the maximum participation of women and a real 50-50, not the objective 50-50. We need a practical 50-50. So I choose to challenge women in their political parties that whenever their list of candidates is forwarded, they have to ensure that it's 50-50. If we have 270 seats, then half. So I think we need to challenge as women the already existing systems which are trying to silence us, or maybe
Network has a way of of just disturbing a flow of thing. Nancy, are you back? Nancy?
Yvonne, are you getting me?
We actually missed you there. Hello?
So you didn't hear me?
We got most of what you said, but then you went off there before you finished your statement. Yes, you said you choose to challenge that we have a real 50-50 and not the objective. We want to see, okay, so we've completely lost her now. You see, the issue of the 50-50, I think it has been raised over and over and over again. I know I've said I want your last statement, but I just want us to revisit this, the 50-50 thingy. If we don't have 25 men and 25 women, or 50 women versus 50 men contesting for a position, is it going to be possible to actually getting the 50-50? Because if we've got 210 seats in parliament, for example, and we have 30 women contesting and the 200 or 300 men contesting for a seat, are we ever going to get to a point where we actually reach the 50-50? Unless the women participate, we can't get to the 50-50. Or unless we are saying that we have to give, dish out the seats. Mainiko, Varaizo, Kudzi, any one of you can come in here.
Yeah, thank you, Yvonne. I don't think there's anything wrong with dishing out the seats. so long as you're dishing out the seats to people who've got capacity to perform the requirements that are supposed to be done. I'll give you an example of the Council of City of Harare, which has 46 councillors, and out of the 46 councillors, we were only 8 women, and
Right.
out of the 8 women, there were 8 committees, and that needed a chairperson and a deputy chairperson, and
Mhm.
which meant 16 leadership positions, but only 2 women covered those 16 seats. If you can see the disparity. And when speaking to my fellow sisters, in trying to encourage them, the other councillors, that take up the positions, um
Mm.
it's a fear, it's a fear of having to clash daily and physically clash, in terms of thoughts, with the men in the chambers, because as a woman, and if you've got a chairperson position, you want to put your points across, you'd actually have, one of the male councillors actually stand up and say, iwe
Mm.
chimbogara pasi iwe, cannot, wakuti ZINASU, it's that time of the month. So then at the end of the day, people start laughing in the chambers, people actually then don't appreciate and value what you're saying. So it actually even inhibits the few women that are in politics, in positions of power. So that 50-50, I think if it's dished out and there are more female voices in the parliament, if there are more female voices in the council chambers, if there are more female voices in the board meetings, it actually then teaches the men, in a hard way, to actually start respecting the voices of the women. And then from
Mm.
then on, we can then start putting structures for competition in these positions. But if we then say we're asking women to fight, to be interested first and then fight for these positions, you still end up getting these ridiculous numbers. Because when
Right.
we're going through, let's say for political positions, if you're going through the primary elections, it is a war zone for you to actually emerge as the as the winner, because men have the financial capacity, they've got that brotherhood of actually supporting each other, and women, we have the bring her down syndrome. So it's a disservice to any woman who actually then ventures.
Mm.
But I liked what Varaizo said, about supporting women, that actually have an interest, the 2.2 million votes, for women. If women can just start by voting for any woman who's in any position, regardless, I know political affiliation will be too much of a stretch, but at least, in terms of just characters, if you've got the same kind of line thought, and what can I say? If you've got the same vision and mindset, support whichever woman is in whatever position, whether it's a church, whether it's a community level, whether it's at the SDA program in your child's school. Just support the woman. You'll see that we'll get there in the 50-50, the real 50-50, yangaitaurwa na
Right.
Nancy. Yeah,
Right.
not the one that we currently have.
Mm. Mm. Mainiko, is it possible to support that woman at church or that woman ku SDA? Is it possible for us as women to support each other?
Yes, I think it's possible. We, as women, we have to see the best in each other and
Right.
just support each other. We have each other. Don't- yeah, yes. So let's support each other.
Right. We have each other, so let's support each other. Varaizo. Varaizo?
Hi. Sorry,
Yes.
can you pose the question again?
Is it possible for a woman to support another woman?
It is. I think if we're able to, as the councillor said, if we're just able to move from political affiliations and just see each other as women supporting each other in putting through policies that benefit us as a whole, whether you're from part A or part B or part C, it is very possible. I think we just need to move from an area or an angle of political affiliations to a state whereby we just view each other as women trying to take up leadership positions. Then it will be
Right.
possible.
It will be possible if we don't partisanize each other. But then this is the nature of our society. It's so partisan. If a ZANU-PF person says something that I does not agree with because maybe I'm supporting Chimuti party, then whether it makes sense or not, I'm going to quash it by all means necessary. If MDC, in all its different formats, says something just because I am from part Z, I would not support them whatsoever because we're just not in this. I think the way we do politics in our country is just bad. Leader Babsi, I see you've joined in. Is it possible for you in your ward to vote for another woman who is standing for leadership? Barbara?
Yes, Yvonne, my network is bad. What was your question?
Is it possible for you to vote for another woman? Is it possible for us to get to a 50-50, a real 50-50?
Yes, it is, but I don't think we have reached that level of voting a woman from another party. Our politics in Zimbabwe does not allow us to do that. I cannot vote a ZANU-PF woman because I don't know whether she's going to champion my causes when she has won there, because the moment she wins, then she toes the line of that political party. So, but coming to my political party, yes, I would support women from my political party who want to rise. But I think the level is not, the ground is not level, Yvonne. We still have to break those glass ceilings that are there, those sticky floors that are there. What are these sticky floors? You see, some women are brave enough to want to contest men, but we find men bribing some women, giving them money, promising them heaven on earth, and then this woman is left alone because they won't be having enough resources. And you know what? Women would not take bribes from a woman. They would rather take a bribe from a man. I think maybe it's because of nature. I don't know. And I'm not saying women must bribe other women to get into power. No, they must just use their confidence and their capacity. So we still have got a long way, Yvonne, to go, because most women do not understand these gender issues because of culture. Our society is still patriarchal. So some women who still believe women cannot lead, they still want to take those. They are content with women taking deputy positions, those vice positions, to say you can be a vice chair, but you can't be the chairperson. Even if when you go for an election when there are 2 men and 50 women, the chairperson will be a man. I don't know how best we can do this, but you know, it worries me a lot to say vakadzi vanomhanyira kuvhotera varume, ivo vakadzi vacho varipo. They've got, sometimes it's not about opportunities. They will have the opportunity to choose what they want, but they can't, for some other reasons, they can't even. So this is what we are supposed to research on and come up with a solution, how best you can do it. You know, I was shocked the other time in Bulawayo when I fought very hard for this 50-50 and the 20% for the youth quota. Tell you what, the youth, the men, the youth, the boys, you know, they did not want. I was telling them, of the 20%, you have to give the boys, the girls, the 10%. Yo, ndakapotsa ndadyiwa. And it's like they wanted the 20%, but the 20% yachona vachida kutora ivo varume, and then the girls had nothing. Out of 29 councillors in Bulawayo, only 10 are women. But after a fight, we had to fight for these 10 wards. We fought, Yvonne.
Right.
So I think it's possible if we have women leaders who are prepared to fight for these young ladies and to fight alongside with these young ladies, we can get there. But the problem because of politics, some women don't want to be seen forefront vachifighta hanzi kungiza ncola ndinozosviba. So I don't care, I don't mind kusviba kwachona. Even kusviba kwachona I don't even care because ndendakageza handisvibiswi nemunhu because ndendakazvigezera. So we need women who are brave, who can defy all odds to say we fight for these young girls and we fight for women with all our heart. And pese pataurwa nezvegender, even on social media you find vamwe vakadzi vachiseka. There are some jokes that circulate that denigrate women, and you see women vachiseka kiki vachiseka. We have to start from the social media. Any joke that denigrates women we have to castigate until they learn kuti hatizvidi. So that kana taakuzotaura taakuda kuvhoterwa, they will respect us. The reason why they don't respect us is because they throw those silly jokes and we laugh.
Right. Very
YVONNE,
powerful.
sorry. Yeah.
Yes.
Sorry. I would like my Nico to repeat. There's a statement that she said at the end of a contribution where she said something where let's support each other. She says something. If she could just repeat, I just want to take that down. I thought it a very powerful statement.
My Nico, do you remember what you said?
I think I said something like we have each other. Let us support each other.
Right. So we have each other and we better support each other. Because that's what we have. We have one another. I have a guest who's come through. He's a man. I think Uncle Signoro, is that you? Uncle Signoro, please, go ahead. I'm going to allow you to give this contribution on a platform of women. Uncle Signoro, you alive? You have just muted yourself, so we can't hear you. Uncle Signoro, you have put yourself on mute. Can you hear me, Uncle Signora? So Uncle Signora is bringing in a different perspective altogether. And he says, I understand that we are in a global village. As such, I'm aware of the global empowerment models. One such is human rights. However, I would like to believe the application and promotion of these human rights is overrated. As such, some of these women leadership issues and distortions are as a result of the above. And he argues that there are so many distortions in our culture by both those who are in the cultural, spiritual realm or cultural leadership. Hence, the role of a woman and man, of a woman and who should lead in what respect, in what areas and all aspects of life. Leadership is not confined to men only. So I needed Uncle Signor to come through so that he can speak. He just put himself on mute, so we can't hear him right now. So I think we have overstretched our conversation to supposed to be an hour. We are 8 minutes in. Varaidzo, any parting shots from your end?
Hello?
Varaidzo, you are
Hello?
mute.
You're already finishing without saying hi to me. How are you?
I'm fine. Please introduce yourself.
Yes, my name is 777 Sabina.
All right. So, Varaidzo, she has gone offline. Varaidzo has gone offline, so we can't quite see her. My Nico, any parting shots?
Thank you for having us. Thank you for everyone. Thank you to everyone who has contributed. I've learned a lot of things, and like I said, I really thank you, ladies, for Councillor Kuzi and everyone else for what you're doing. And like I said again, we have each other. Let us support each other and get that 50-50 soon.
Right. Right. Thank you. Thank you so much, Leader. Over to you, Leader Barbara.
Okay, thank you so much, Yvonne. What I can urge the ladies is that 50-50 is very possible if only we are serious about what we want. Because I see a lack of seriousness in us and a lack of confidence. We have to build each other's confidence. And when we have to introduce even the what you could theory or maybe the mentorship programs, Yvonne, we need to mentor each other. We know we've got women who are at different levels of leadership, and we need to get in partnership with those ladies who have got experience in leadership, and they have to mentor our young ladies so that they also be in the leadership positions, so that we all enjoy because development without women is not development, it's not even sustainable. In order for countries to attain sustainable development, there has to be women participation, not only participation yekuimba nekutamba kongonya, no, participation in making decisions.
Right. Thank you so much, Leader Barbara. I want to give Uncle Signoro an opportunity to just say briefly, because we want to round up, Uncle Signoro.
Hello, hi, how are you? Is that Yvonne?
Yes, it is. Your volume is very low, Uncle.
My volume is very low.
Yeah.
Is it now?
Yes, that's better. Please share your sentiments. Do young
Hi,
women have a
Yvonne.
say? Yes, how are you? Do young
Fine,
women
thanks.
have a
Hello,
say
Zimbabwe.
in
How are
terms
you,
of politics?
Linjani Lonke? I'm following the topic and I'm enjoying it. Thanks for barging in late. Yeah, truly so. I don't think that women are participating to the expected levels. And I think a lot needs to be done to correct that. It's not so much about complaining. Those are my views. It's about being concerned. Concern to me is the word, because if we complain, we'll end up having endless debates. But concern to say, what kind of society do we want? Is it not a good thing to have a balanced society where there's equal participation? And interrogate ourselves in anything that we say, because it should follow us. When we say we're talking of inclusive participation, is it balanced? And I think if the checklist is that it's not balanced, then we should be able to agree on the models that can be used, that can be applied to balance the equation in as far as women participation in leadership is concerned. So in the interest of time, I would have said a lot, but I think some of these things, I think my understanding, my school of thought is that most of the problems that we have in society, socio-economic, they revolve on culture, where we're coming from. We cannot talk about economics without going back to culture. There's a discourse somewhere, and I think there's very little being done to correct that. So we are dealing with symptoms and not dealing with the root cause. Where when you talk of culture, sometimes there are distortions. We are talking of culture that was being practiced maybe 100 years or 150 years ago. That is not the original culture. It is culture that probably we're copying after the distortions, when we no longer have, like now, we no longer have the proper leadership, cultural leadership.
Right. So, Uncle Signora is always bringing the aspect of culture and how our culture shapes our society. So, I think we've heard the parting
What
shot
is
from my
our
Nico.
real situation? What is
All right. I think our network, Uncle Signoro, is really poor. Thank you so much for joining us in studio to share your own views. We've heard our parting shots from my Nico. We have heard parting shots from Babsi. Councillor Kudzi, did we hear your parting shots?
No, Yvonne.
Okay.
But
Can you please?
I just have a few words. We have each other. Let us support each other. We can do it. We are power. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Nancy, can you hear me? Any parting shots? All right. We don't seem to have Nancy there. Varaizo, did we hear your parting shots?
Hi, sorry, my network was acting up.
Okay.
From my end, I would just want to say, let's all come together as women, support each other, and take up leadership positions and push for policies that can give us a better future, that can ensure a 50-50 representation. I think that's my parting shot. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you so much to all of you. My Nico, Babsi, Councillor Kuzika Zombe, Nancy Njenge from ZINASU, and Varai Zojo from WALPE. Thank you so much for joining us. Sabena Anesuruwiji, thank you so much for coming through. Unfortunately, we'll not be able to bring you into the studio for this conversation, but would want to engage a little bit more and hopefully have you on our next program. So this was a special feature where we were just talking about the young women and our involvement in politics. Are we safe to engage in it? Are we free to engage in it? And what is it that are the limitations that we have? And I think our panel managed to raise some of the most fundamental issues. You are because I am, so we need to support each other. 50-50 is possible if we are serious about getting more women into leadership position. My name is YVONNE Muchaka, and this is Frank Talk on Zimbabwe Daily. Have yourselves a wonderful rest of day, and may we continue to fight. May we continue to fight for our space as the women. This is the Women's Month. Choose to challenge. Have yourselves a wonderful rest of day.